So, what's up, everybody? I had to step in on this female MC conversation. I had to. Azelia Banks is at it again. This time, she's coming for Remy Ma. And based off of what Remy released, it's a little bit confusing because in the text messages, it's showing that, Azelia is a fan. So it's like, how all of a sudden is she switching it up now? And for what reason? I guess what triggered the whole thing was Remy made a comment saying that before, right when she was released from prison, that, the female rap game was basically destitute. Like, there was not very much going on as far as just competition. And as you can see, within a few years, it's like everybody wants to rap. Now, everybody's like, it pretty much, Azealia Banks, she could say something that makes a lot of sense, and the whole world is going to disagree with her because she's been basically blacklisted. Essentially, people don't take the time to kind of like actually dissect the validity of what you're saying once you're on that list. You just pretty much get dismissed as angry, as bitter, as volatile, where even if you're saying something that has a lot of merit, that carries a lot of merit, people aren't going to really rock with you just because you're on that list. Now, I don't agree with Azelia's antics, especially not in this case. And I'm not going to pick sides either. I'm a Remy fan. But there's a lot of music that Azealia Banks puts out that I think is cool. And one thing that I think is remarkable about Azealia Banks is the fact that her music is so unique. It's almost like I went to see her in LA a couple months ago, and it's almost like a 90s like trance, or 90s like trance, or like almost like acid techno or something like that meets hip hop. And it's dope. To me, her sound is innovative. And then also her as a performer, she brings it. I was one of the only black people at her concert. Her fan base is primarily white and Latin. And she performed, I want to say it was at the Forum. Was it at the Forum? I forgot the venue. Maybe it was in Hollywood. I think it was in Hollywood. But, it wasn't a huge venue, but the venue was packed. And the performance was amazing. And I've seen Remy before. I saw Remy when I was in high school. I think Remy is drop dead gorgeous in person. I think a lot of times, like, her photos or videos or whatever don't even really do her justice like that when you see her in person. And I think that Remy is also quite a dope MC. I mean, bar for bar, like she says, Remy is somebody who can actually go up against the men. Like, it's not like, oh, this is lady hip-hop. No, Remy spits for real. But not to choose sides, but basically, Azealia Banks was making a comment saying that female hip-hop, content-wise, is kind of dead. And as much as I love and respect female artists and hip-hop artists, including Azealia Banks, I will say that her lyrical content is not, so unique either. I think that her sound of music is unique, but I don't think that her lyrical content is so unique. And when we talk about female hip-hop, we talk about female rap, contemporary female rap within the past 10 years. We're basically talking about, content-wise, how good you look and how much better you are than the next chick. That's what every single woman raps about. I'm better than you, and I'm better than you for these reasons, and that's the reason why you're not on my level, or I look so good and I'm able to sexually satisfy my man, a man, whoever's man, the best. That's what rap has come down to as women. That's what female rap has literally been minimized to. Now, mind you, now, and I'm not saying that rap is where it needs to be, period. And that's a whole nother conversation. Now, as far as Azealia Banks, she kind of has stepped up to this role where she's become almost like a hip-hop gatekeeper. And a lot of people are questioning her role in that. Like, what credentials do you have to be a hip-hop gatekeeper? But you have to understand, and this was a conversation that I had to have with myself recently. When my family was getting on my case about different things, I'm like, time out, guys. I'm grown. I'm a mother, for one. and you guys don't pay my bills. You know what I mean? Like, back off, stay out of my business, and let me live my life. But my brother raised the point. He was like, we used to have to walk, like, after school, we used to have to walk, like, to make sure that you got home safely before we could go to practice. Like, I had to pitch in sometimes to get you your lacrosse equipment. Like, we invested in you. For you to become the woman that you've become, we've invested in you. And that sacrifice that we made, it wasn't always an easy sacrifice for you to become the woman that you become. And now you're grown, and now you want to say, oh, I'm grown, stay out of my business, but we've invested in you, and we want to see a return on our investment. And I said, you know what? That's a point. You know what I mean? That's a point that I didn't formally consider. And so with Azelia Banks, as far as her being a hip-hop gatekeeper, I think that she needs to be one. Even if it's not Azelia, we need to have them. And I think that there should be more of them. And I think that this conversation of, old people hating on young, new hip-hop artists, it really needs to be put in that perspective. These are people that paved the way for you. There would be no lane if it wasn't for the veterans of hip-hop. So for you guys to just be like, hey, I'm doing me with an art form that wasn't created by you, and you guys are being so negligent with this art form, yeah, call them out on it. Call them out on it, because I'm tired of hearing the same exact nonsense over and over and over, both as an artist and as a consumer. I'm tired of hearing the same message. And then also the origin of hip-hop was a means to uplift people. So can you blame the gatekeepers who started something to uplift people for being upset by now that same thing that they've created is being used to put people down? I mean, can you blame them? It's like, man, like, I started this whole thing and look what you guys have done with it. You've run it to the ground, So, and I'm not getting preachy and I'm not holier than thou, because trust me, I like ratchet music just as much as the next person. All I'm saying is, like, can we have some variety? Can we have, like, some Lauryn Hills also? Okay, we have Nicki. We have, I feel like the over-sexualized, like, female hip-hop artists, like, that lane has been, like, done, like, time after time. It's not, like, a lane that's been, like, there's nothing innovative about, like, the over-sexualized, like, hip-hop, like, female. There's nothing innovative about that role. Whereas we're still talking about Lauryn because of her content. Decades later, we're still talking about this woman. Why? Because of her content. Because of how one album. People are like, oh, people still talk about Lauryn and she only had one album. How did one album have that much impact on society and on the world? Because it was actually talking about something meaningful. Lauryn wasn't talking about how she shits on every other woman. How much better she looks than every other woman. How because of her bank account, she's automatically better than every other woman. No, Lauryn gave the glory to God. Lauryn gave her glory to God and understood that she was chosen this role not to be vain. Because again, like she said, and I really related to this, as writers, as women who write, we can literally take our creativity and our strong ability to write, and we can lend that to anything. I have songs that you would not even believe that I wrote because they're so against my personality and my character. You wouldn't even believe that I wrote these songs. And then I have songs that I feel like humanity like needs to hear, like various types of songs, but yet we're continuously put under pressure to only get one narrative out, one message out. And Lauryn was like, nah, if I've been blessed by God to have these gifts, the ability to communicate, the ability to inspire, the ability to change lives, the ability and the skill to write, to write brilliantly. I've been given these gifts. These are not gifts that, like, oh, it's all me, it's all me. No, these are gifts from the Most High. These are gifts from God that we've been given as artists. And to use that gift to lead people astray, I don't know, like, I can't endorse that. I really can't, like, not wholeheartedly endorse that. Now, I'm big on freedom of expression. I don't necessarily believe that, you should be filtered. But as an artist, I think that we have the ability to be able to express ourselves as much as possible. So we got like artists like Eminem, where it's like literally I'm talking about my life. You know what I mean? Like you can't come at me crazy because I'm talking about my life experiences. Like Kendrick says, like there's experiences in my life that might offend you. And I'm sorry, but like this is my story. Like God gave me this life so I could be able to tell this story. And this is my story. I'm not going to be able to be able to jump back in time and change the things that happened to me. And I want to be able to express it, be it just being able to get it off my chest, or maybe my story can touch a life, or whatever it is, or maybe it's just my way of like my creative outlet, telling my stories, but I'm free to express it. All I'm saying is like, fine, no matter how wild your life is or how wild your stories are, yes, you should be able to express it. But like with the music now, it's not, these people aren't like telling their stories, their life stories. They're feeding a specific message, a specific agenda. And it's not an agenda, in my opinion, that is empowering. It's not. And I'm not big on I'm big on inspire and motivate. So like a line that says, get your business right, or like get your pockets up. Like, yeah, for sure. Like that should be, people's goals, like to have upward mobility and to progress. That should be people's goals. But like to make somebody feel bad about not having, I don't think that that's very productive, especially when people are going to like all kinds of great lengths to have that aren't necessarily healthy. You know what I mean? Like so many things. Like it's like, okay, fine, Cardi, you were a stripper, I get it, like that was your life. You didn't come from a silver spoon background and things like that. You're not telling every single girl to go strip. You're telling, hey, this is my life and this is how my life played out. But also, these young girls should know that Cardi is an exception. Most strippers, they don't get that Cinderella fairy tale ending. That's just not, Amber Rose is an exception. Like, these women, I don't knock them and I don't judge them for the life that they had and what they had to do in order to escape that life. Trust me, if you ever live in poverty, it's nothing that you really want to have. But, like, please understand that these women are the exception and not the norm. Like, most strippers, like, don't end up with these stories. And so, when I see all these young women on the pole, and then I look at the numbers, and I'm like, man, like, only half of black women get married. Like, 3/4 of black women, end up being single mothers. Like, we're failing in every category. Our children are failing in every category. We're failing academically. We're behind, test scores wise. Like, our neighborhoods are impoverished. Like demographic, like statistically, and in the world of America, like in the, I guess we can just say the economic context, we're not really doing all that well. And so I would imagine that this community needs a little bit more upliftment, a little bit more encouragement. And not in the sense of like money. Like, no, money isn't the solution to everything. Yeah, money will fix a lot of the problems that black people have. But like deep therapy, like there's a lot of things. There's a lot of healing that has to go on within the community. And so don't say that you care about the community, but you feed the community poison. You just can't, you have to pick a side and you have to stay on that side. But that whole wishy-washy, yeah, I care about black women, but all your music is shitting on us. Like all your music is about how you're better than us. But yet you're for the upliftment and the empowerment of us. That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. And it just, in my opinion, like, okay, fine, we're always going to have that. We're always going to have, certain representations. I believe that black people should feel free to be as mediocre as they want, as mediocre as white people. I mean, in the sense of, no, because you're born into black skin doesn't mean that you have to over excel in order to be a good representative of the community. No, I don't think so. I think that the goal is to be able to be as free as everybody else. And that means as mediocre as some of, some of the other races that we all share this earth with. So yeah, I see it that way. But my main thing is, just like we have lowbrow television, we have lowbrow entertainment, we also have highbrow entertainment. We also have things that are going to be feeding your mind, feeding, intellectuals and things like that. So when it comes to hip hop, can we please have the full spectrum? That's all I'm saying. Give me some ratchet, ignorant stuff. Because you're not going to see me, you'll see me at the club and I'll be dancing to it. You're not going to call me out on that. I love it for the purpose that it serves. But it can't all be that. We need some intellectualism in hip hop. We need some Lauryn Hills. We need some contemporary Nas. And don't get me wrong, J. Cole has done his part. I don't include J. Cole in this conversation. Kendrick has done his part. I don't include Kendrick in this conversation. Even Jay with this 444, he's not included in this conversation. These men have done their part. But now we're getting back to female hip hop. Where is the female J. Cole? Where is the female Kendrick? Why is it that we claim to be feminists, but we won't raise the conversation? We'll only raise the conversation to such a certain level, but yet we claim to be feminists. But yet we play a very, submissive, subservient, yeah, daddy, kind of role all the time. I'm not saying sometimes. I can turn it on and turn it off. I like to have my, sexual expression and my sexy time and all of that. I can turn it off. But all the time? And that's it? That's all that you're about? Come on now. Come on. So, at least, and maybe this isn't a conversation necessarily for the artists, maybe it's for the labels or for whoever is the puppet master of radio and of music, whoever is in charge of that. Can we at least, as consumers, can you at least give us the full spectrum of music? Not just this just super over-sexualized just idiotness. Please.